on the bridge.
Copy that.
It's been over 5 years since the last numbered SOCOM game, and the industry has evolved and shifted a lot since then. With that in mind, and fresh off the success of MAG, Zipper Interactive have dragged their most famous franchise kicking and screaming into the next generation. Unfortunately, while the graphics may be sharper and the online features are more robust, the fourth entry in the SOCOM series comes across drab and boring. The problems begin in the game's single-player campaign. You play as NATO's OPSCOM, or Operations Commander, and are immediately thrown into conflict in an unnamed Asian country with a largely faceless terrorist group. As if the muted grays and browns of the game's environment didn't look bland enough, the game never takes the time to explain where you are or even who you are. A little bit of the OPSCOM's history with the region is revealed later in the game, but it feels forced and overdramatic like a soap opera. Other than the ambiguous nature of the game's story and the generic manner in which it's executed, the single player is serviceable. The controls have been intelligently thought out, although you can't blind fire for some reason, and the levels themselves are designed well, with multiple opportunities for flanking built into most encounters. In theory, this would prompt you to carefully plan out each assault before pulling the trigger. In execution, it's much more efficient to simply run in guns blazing and let everyone handle themselves. A handful of stealth missions serve to break up the shooting, and while the first of these is welcome, they quickly become frustrating. A stealth meter on the side of the screen shows how visible you are to enemy sentries. The meter will skyrocket if you walk too fast or step into the light, so the most effective way to beat the stealth sections is to go prone and crawl through the entire level, which isn't exactly fun. SOCOM's bread and butter has never been single player, though. The online multiplayer is where SOCOM 4 sinks or swims, but in this case it's really more of the former. Zipper, of all developers, should be in the forefront of multiplayer gameplay given their pioneering role in the genre. Instead, if anything, they're wallowing in the past. Sure, it's impressive that they've squeezed 32 players into the matches, but the boring design of the single player carries over to the online. Matches seem to just lack a sense of direction, even in the more objective-based modes. Everybody kinda just wanders around, shooting whoever happens to fall into their crosshairs. Speaking of the crosshairs, SOCOM 4s are unusually large. Even when you stop moving, the reticule is elephantine. This isn't much of an issue in the single player, but trying to pick off enemies from a distance with anything but a sniper rifle is really tedious online. The multiplayer modes don't do much to encourage precision or teamwork either. The objective-based modes don't give you any points for capturing territories or anything like that, so there's little incentive to do anything but shoot. The final nail in SOCOM 4's coffin is a bad multiplayer UI. It feels a decade behind most of today's leading shooter franchises thanks to a lack of kill cams, and it's odd to see that after completing a match you can't check the previous match's scores while you wait in the lobby. I mean, that's just a basic feature. A co-op mode also exists, but despite many attempts to create a game or join a game, I could never get in, so I can't really speak to its quality. I mean, I've heard that it's the best part of the game, but that's not saying a lot. Overall, SOCOM 4 is a game stuck in the past. Its dated design and drab world are terribly generic by today's standards, and none of the multiplayer features stand out enough to redeem it, coupled with some strange issues like an awkwardly sized targeting reticule and the lack of blind firing, and these design philosophies make Zipper's latest tough to recommend.